I've talked about before, I don't remember my dreams. If I do, they're like little bits and pieces and I don't really know what they had anything to do with. I don't even care about my dreams. Last 6 months I've had more dreams given to me than I have had over the last decade. Kind of crazy. And this last one a week ago, which I'm now going to give because I was going to give another one, was about the earthquake. Never had a dream on the earthquake. Just an FYI, I've known the earthquake for I don't know how long. Never had a dream about the earthquake. And this was complete. I've never had anything like this happen. To explain what I mean, when you have a God dream, at least when I have a God dream, you are immersed. You're always immersed into it. They can be a little different. Like for instance, I've had to where I've been in, I'd call it a cognate state, not asleep, not awake, right? I've been to where I know where I know I'm in the room, I know I'm laying on my bed, and I hear the sounds, if there's people that are making noise out in the living room or whatever, I hear all of that, and so I'm aware that I'm not asleep, but I'm also not awake. And people have called these kind of things like night visions. I don't know what you call it. I know I'm not asleep, but I'm not awake. There was one I had about 6 years ago of that very thing, and this is all it was. And that's the way my dreams are. They're very short and to the point. There's no story, generally. It's just a message. I was outside of a city. This is about 6 years ago. I was outside of a city. I'm lying on my bed. I'm not asleep entirely. I'm looking at a city that I would call it apocalyptic. I know it had suffered nuclear attack. I know a nuke had hit it. It was destroyed. It was all charred, burnt. Papers were flying, there was nobody. It was just gone. The city was gone. And as I'm watching this, I'm thinking. Here's what I was thinking. You guys see the games for the kids and stuff. I'm thinking, am I looking at the cover of Fallout? Now, Fallout is a game for some of you guys that don't know. It's about an apocalyptic world, to where there's been nuclear holocaust and there's radiation and that kind of thing, and that's how the game is, and that's the setting. I'm thinking as I'm looking at this, because I don't understand why I'm looking at it. I didn't get why I'm looking at it. I'm trying to rationalize in my head, why am I looking at the city? Is this the color of the cover of Fallout? That's what I'm thinking. Maybe this is the cover of Fallout, and when this is done, I'm going to get up and I'm going to look and see if it's the cover. And when it was done, it wasn't the cover. That even made it more, disheartening and more concerning, I should say. I knew it was God, but I wasn't asleep and wasn't awake. That's kind of and I've given another dream like that, whatever you want to call it, not asleep, not awake, in this series about where I had two angels carrying me off. Those are always there. There's only one other, very powerful, always God, and that was God. Just a message of a city that's going to be nuked. And it was anyway. So this is along those lines, but more different, in the sense of to where I've never had this happen. Maybe some of you guys have had it happen. Here's how it went. I've stayed up all night. I go to bed late. I'm laying in the bed. The sun's coming up. That's how late it was. The sun was coming. The light's hitting the room. I'm laying there. I'm tossing, and I've opened my eyes several times, and I'm trying to go to sleep, and I'm not sleeping. I'm not asleep. However, apparently at some point I went to sleep, but I didn't know I went to sleep. It was just as real as I'm looking at I had been laying there, and somewhere the transition happened where I'm still laying there, but I guess I'm in a dream. But I don't know that I'm in a dream, if that makes any sense. Here's what happened. I'm laying in my bed, and all of a sudden the rumbling starts happening. Came on slowly, and rumbling, and I feel we're starting to shake in the bed. And I know this is the earthquake. The earthquake. I go to grab my wife's hand. She's asleep. She's asleep. I go to grab her to comfort her if she wakes up out of it. I asked her the next day, did I grab your hand? Because I didn't know the difference. She said, no, if I did, she didn't know that I did, if I did. So I'm grabbing her hand, and it's getting bad. And it's not stopping, and it's getting worse. And I'm looking, my eyes are open. The lighting is the same. Nothing's changed in the room. And the ceiling's starting to crack, and it's starting to cave in, and the house starts going like this. We're starting to go like that, slowly, like that. Slowly, not just a... And I'm like, and all the emotions are there, and it's insane. And we're going to go that way because, you know, the house is going... I go to look that way because that's where we're going to fall. And when I did, I woke myself out of it. I just turned my head. And I'm hearing this... Talk about a relief. I hear the fan in the room and the ambient noise, and I realize what I was also hearing, because the normal sound came to me. I was hearing crying, screaming, whimpering, and groaning in the background, coming from everywhere. The whimpering that's the crazy part. The groaning, and it was coming from, it wasn't inside my house. Somehow I was hearing what everybody else was doing, if that makes any sense. Instantaneously, I knew that was God. Nobody had to tell me, was that God? Did you have God? That was God. But what is God saying? What is the takeaway? Which is what I tried to figure out. What can be extrapolated, and what I do know, is that this channel is accurate. The earthquake is on the way, and it's soon, and it's around the corner, and it's imminent. That I do know. That this is not wrong, this is very soon, and you need to be looking for it and being ready for it if you haven't tried to prep as best as you can your house. I had ended this video, but before I go, I want to say something. I wanted to pop it in here. This video was over with. Anyway, I want to tell you guys something real quick. There is a dream that I have. Talked about a pastor unprepared, and he has a dream where he's anyway. If you're familiar with that dream I gave about this pastor, about how around my anniversary the man would find himself delivering a message he wasn't ready for. Couple days after my anniversary, this is the truth, and I don't understand. I didn't dive into it and ask him why. He showed me he's making a book right now. He's calling it The Vision. Yeah, I believe David Wilkerson already has one called The Vision. This guy's, did you know you're taking the title away from David Wilkerson? Not going to tell him that, and it doesn't matter anyway. I guess you can have the name of somebody else's book. It doesn't matter as long as you know who the author is. You know which one you're looking for. Anyway, I didn't ask him what provoked it. Why? His other books that he's done are on prosperity. Why, after 40 years almost, are you now making a book on your vision? I thought that coincidental or fulfillment. You be the judge. Look for more dreams and visions to come. Until next time, take care and God bless.